Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while since my last video, and honestly, I thought I was kind of done making Anthem content. However, over the weekend I figured out something kind of crazy, or rather, I guess I was informed of something kind of crazy, and given the nature of it, I feel like I have to share it with the community. Now, just a fair warning, it is pretty game breaking, and it's kind of unfair to the loot economy of the game, and maybe that's why it was kept a secret for so long, but it's the end of the game cycle now, and I guess that's kind of why it was revealed to me. And obviously anybody that wants to get good gear at this point in the game, like, of course, you should be able to get it, and this will definitely make it a lot easier. I mean, as a result, it is kind of bittersweet, because, I wish more people knew about this sooner, because having good rolls in Anthem is a huge grind. It's thousands of hours. I know people that have put in a crazy amount of time into this game just for crystal runs and getting good rolls, and this kind of circumvents that quite a lot. So it's a bit bittersweet. I know a lot of people that have figured this out since then are pretty angry about it, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm really hung up on it too, but there's nothing I can do about it now. All I can really do now, I guess, is just have fun with it, see what rolls I get, see how much more powerful my builds can get, and I hope everyone can come out of this with that viewpoint. But anyways, I guess let's get into it. So, okay, let's go into the shop here. Let's take a good look at my crystal count here. Make sure you make a note of it before we enter the strongholds. That way we see how much I come out with as the difference. Now, I'm also going to be doing this run solo, simply just because I've never posted a solo on my account before on my channel. But also, if you're going to do this glitch, maybe not necessarily having, people that would want to do this, because generally the way to make the most of this is to AFK and spend 3 hours in the stronghold, and maybe not everyone wants to do that. So I figured I would, as gameplay to attach to it, I would attach a solo run, just so that way if you wanted to do this alone and you have the gear to do it alone, then you would see the method at least to get that done. So Old Ranger is the way, Tip of the Spear, Badge of Devastation, that kind of build, just that way you're getting your ults back fast, you get to stay alive. It's actually very, very nice for soloing. Takes some decent ultimate damage rolls, but otherwise not a crazy amount of investment. So that's what I'm going with for this. Ranger is just generally very strong and hard to rage anyways, so, and it's my personal main, I guess. So let's get into the stronghold, and I'm just gonna leave the gameplay, just let it go. So you can see the sequence of everything I'm doing, but I'm also just gonna make sure I put timestamps in the video, so that way if you don't need the solo run, like, if you're gonna run with a squad, because it is better to run with a squad, you will get more crystal that way, and it'll be faster, and you can take more advantage of the 3-hour server timer. But I will leave the solo run in there. I'm not going to really talk that whole time, so you're not going to really miss anything. Just I'll leave it there if people want to take notes, whatnot, on how to do the solo. But you can definitely skip ahead to the part that I'm going to chapter, in order to show the actual glitch part of it. That's not just like the basic out of map and mini boss glitches and all that kind of stuff. Now, do note, the better of a run you do, the more crystal you get in the run itself, the better the result will be from this, because you're basically going to dupe whatever crystal count you get very, very quickly over and over again. So you want that number to be as high as possible. It caps out at 25k, And it just so happens that both myself and TIB2 have videos on our channel that show kind of a dual perspective where you only need 2 people to get 25k. This run I'm probably going to get right around 19,000 just because that's what's possible alone. Anything more than that and you need minimum 2 people. So I'll link those videos in the description to show how to get 25k if you do have people to play with, but then I'm also going to leave this one as a solo just so that way if that's the most you can do, then this is the way to maximize it.
Heart rate. I can't believe we're back.
Well, believe fast, because we've got work to do.
The monitor's already steps ahead. Need to move quickly.
Faye?
She's all right. Just make your way up to the city ruins. It's the monitor.
wait until you see what I've done to the cenotaph.
The last of them.
No time to rest. Keep after the monitor.
For the record, I messed up right here. I was supposed to go on the other side of this rock. I totally brain farted. You want to go to the Titan room? Not here. So, yeah. Don't do what I did right here. I was kind of like, yeah, god damn it. And then I respawned. I did all sorts of dumb stuff. And I was just like, what am I doing here? So, yeah. Don't do this part. Yeah, but I was not going to record this again because But yeah, I mean, if you ever have any brain farts like this, as long as you didn't get a checkpoint, like, you know, in between your brain fart and the current moment, you could just go die in some lava or something, and it'll basically reset you to your last checkpoint. So, you know, no harm, no foul. Just a couple minutes of my time, I guess. A couple minutes off my, you know, potential glitching time, I guess. But meh. I wasn't going to do a full one here anyways, just for the recording, so it is what it is.
Still here? You're not a rookie anymore. You got this. You hear that? I need assistance.
connection problems. Oh dear. The Anthem does have its way of weeding out the weak.
Oh, shut up. things up with the flight controls. Ground or interference. Destroy it! Or enjoy the stroll. We've got brutes ahead!
Free Doctor? I'm here.
Faye. Oh, I lost you.
It's taken everything I have to keep your suit running, but stronger together, right?
You really believe the team will get me through this?
Excuse me. You're ruining the moment.
The Dominion just had to poke it. Silence it so we can reach the monitor. Dominion skulls, but don't forget the echoes. Mean bastards. Path is clear. Monitor's next.
Too slow, Freelancer. I am transcendent.
Wasn't always this big, right?
No, he's been remade by the Anthem.
That can't be healthy.
Made it all this way. Not giving up now.
He's on the move again.
Hey, he's changing the storm.
It's his connection to the cenotaph.
Hope my Jeff can withstand this acid stuff. Need some help.
Too slow, Freelancer. I am transcendent.
Wasn't always this big, right?
No, he's been remade by the Anthem.
That can't be healthy.
Made it all this way. Not giving up now.
Heads up! Meteors! Started to think the cenotaph is on our side.
Faye, he's changing the storm.
It's his connection to the cenotaph.
Hope my Jeff can withstand this acid stuff.
He doesn't have full control. The cenotaph activated him to another location.
So, okay, I'm going to butt in here right at the end of the stronghold here. So, when the score thing comes up, basically the premise behind this is that when the score comes up and it shows you your crystal count and you have that mission end timer, if you squad wipe, so as long as everybody in the squad dies during that time, but before the timer ends, then you will respawn and that kind of timer thing will reset itself and you'll get another set of crystals, and you can repeat that over and over and over again. That timer is 25 seconds and the squad wipe timer is 10 seconds, so you need to make sure you die within basically that first 15 seconds. You need to die quickly so that way you can, make sure that the stronghold doesn't end on you. So I'm going to do it a couple times here just as a proof of concept, but if you were to do this for the full 3 hours, I would recommend taking off softened blows and maybe even taking off some armor. You see it proccing on the left side of my screen there, and it slows down my death quite a bit. You kind of want to do it a lot quicker than I've done it here if you want to maximize the amount of crystals you get over that time. You can also I think you can do this in Tyrant Mine as well, but it definitely works here. You can actually rubber band your left stick to basically walk you into the fire. So without turning around, I do kind of, cheat here and fly up here, but you don't have to fly here. You can just walk backwards. So if you hold your left stick like down and a little bit to the left and, put a rubber band on it or something, you can just keep walking back here over and over and over again and keep dying in the fire. So I've done 2 deaths here. I think I end up doing 5 in total. Now, like I said, the best way to do it is definitely a lot faster than this. Take off softened blows, maybe even take off some armor. That last quarter of the boss's health, you don't actually have to kill him. So when he gets to that phase and he kneels down and drops his sword or whatever he swings in front of him, when he gets to that point, you can just pause, go into your forge, and swap your components in order to get the right amount of armor or whatever you desire. And that'll let you do this really, really efficiently. I personally, when I'm doing this solo, I just remove softened blows and I change it out for some other component. And I'm able to get the crystal count every 24 seconds, give or take, is what I timed my cycle at. So if you do that for the full 3 hours, getting this crystal count, getting around 19,000, you'll get 6.5 million crystals in 3 hours. And you can AFK that. All you have to do is just put your rubber bands on your controller facing a little bit back to the left. You can kind of fine tune it in order to get it positioned properly. So okay, that was the last death. So I think that makes 5 deaths. And it's okay, I think this is the last one I do. Now, the screen sometimes does get a little bit glitchy. Don't mind that. And sometimes it'll look like the counter goes too high. It'll also kind of reset itself pretty much right as you're dying. You don't want to remove all of your armor because you might die a little bit too fast. It is possible to go a little bit too quick and not get credit for it. But in general, being fast is not necessarily a bad thing in terms of how fast you die. So anyways, I'm going to let the timer run out here. We're going to go back to the fort and we're going to see how many crystal I got. Keep in mind, we did 5 runs, or I died 4 times, which means in total I got 5 instances of crystal. So that at 18.8 thousand, oh god, can I do math? That should be 90 something thousand crystal, right? 18.8, 94,000. And I had 98 to start. So I should have something like 192,000 crystal if everything went well. Alright, delete everything there. Let's go back to the fort. Hold B, come on, you can do it. Oh, never mind, no you can't. There you go. Okay. I'm honestly kind of ashamed that it took me so long to even think about doing something like this. When someone told me, I was like, how did I not think of this sooner? But, I mean, secret's out now, so here it is. Now let's see the count. 192,000. Oh, 194. Never mind. I can't do math. But that definitely means I got credit for all 5. So even just doing 5 deaths like that, I already quintupled my crystal count. Now, if you do it like I said for the full 3 hours, I mean that's 6.5 mil in a solo run, 9.5 to 10 mil if you get the full 25 or full 25k crystals like you can in a duo run. I'll link that video below. And yeah, you can get more crystals with this in a week than a lot of Anthem accounts have seen in their entire lifetime, even those that have thousands of hours. So I hope this was helpful. Happy grinding for the last couple of months. I'd love to see the rolls you guys get, or I'd love to hear about them, because I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this is for, you know. And I hope you guys enjoyed. So now I just want to show at the end of the video here, this is what my count looks like basically 6 hours after I recorded that initial little segment. I did kind of 2-3 hour AFK runs, and the count is kind of absurd. For reference, yeah. For reference, the most I've ever had on my account at once is about 4 million. And obviously, you know, because I would spend it. But yeah, totally crazy. And I hope you guys enjoyed.